Rome, June 1497. Dawn breaks over the Tiber River, and fishermen are about to have the worst morning of their lives. A body floats face down in the muddy water, dressed in velvet and silk, expensive clothes for a corpse. When they pull him ashore, the scene gets worse. 9 stab wounds, throat slashed, stones tied in his pockets to keep him under. This wasn't a robbery, this was a message. The dead man is one Borgia, Duke of Gandier, second son of the Pope himself, and the golden boy of the most powerful family in Europe. Within hours, Rome explodes with rumours. Was it a jealous husband, a political rival, or, and here's where it gets truly dark, was it his own brother? Because in the Borgia family, blood is always thicker than water, but ambition is thicker than blood. The Pope locks himself in his chambers and screams for 3 days straight. The investigation goes nowhere. Justice? Not when the main suspect might be the Pope's favourite son, Cesare, the man who will stop at nothing to build an empire. But how did a Spanish family of minor nobles end up running the Catholic Church like a crime syndicate? How did we get here? Rewind to Valencia, Spain, mid-1400s. The Borgias aren't even called Borgia yet, they're the Borgias, a family of small-time landowners trying to claw their way up the ladder in a kingdom that doesn't care about them. Enter Alonso de Borgia, the man who changes everything. He's smart, educated, a legal mind, and most importantly, he knows how to make himself useful to powerful people. He becomes a diplomat, a fixer, a man kings call when they need problems to disappear quietly. In 1455, Alonso gets the ultimate promotion, Pope Calixtus III, a Spanish pope, in Rome. The Italian cardinals are furious, but there's nothing they can do. Alonso is 77 years old. They figure he'll die soon, and they can get back to business as usual. They're wrong about what he'll do with his time. Calixtus does what every ambitious patriarch does. He loads the Vatican with his relatives. Nephews get cardinal hats, like party favours. The family name gets Italianized. Borgia becomes Borgia, more prestigious, more Roman, more permanent. The most important nephew? Rodrigo Borgia, young, brilliant, and dangerously charismatic. Calixtus makes him a cardinal at 25 and sets him up for life. When Calixtus dies in 1458, the Italian cardinals think they've dodged a bullet. The Spanish are out. Order is restored. They have no idea what's coming. For the next 35 years, Cardinal Rodrigo Borgia plays the long game. He's not just a churchman, he's a political operator, a deal-maker, a man who understands that the Vatican is less about salvation and more about power. He's also living like a Renaissance prince. Multiple mistresses, at least 7 acknowledged children, a palazzo filled with art, gold, and the best wines money can buy. The vows of celibacy? More like suggestions. His most famous mistress is Vanozza de Catane, who gives him 4 children who will change history: Cesare, Juan Lucrezia, and Joffre. These aren't bastards hidden in shame. Rodrigo parades them around Rome like a royal family. Picture the scene. Cardinals are supposed to be spiritual leaders. Rodrigo's throwing banquets where the wine flows until dawn, cutting backroom deals, and building a network of allies across Europe. He's rich, connected, and utterly shameless. In 1492, the papal throne opens up, the conclave gathers, and Rodrigo Borgia does what he does best. He bribes his way to the top. Mule trains of gold, promises of land and titles, castles handed out like business cards, 4 days of negotiations that would make a mob boss blush. On August 11, 1492, Rodrigo Borgia becomes Pope Alexander VI. The Spanish family is back, and this time, they're not leaving. Alexander VI isn't here to be a spiritual leader, he's here to build a dynasty. First order of business, his children need to be the most powerful people in Italy. Forget that they're illegitimate. Forget that nepotism is technically frowned upon. This is the Borgia era now. Caesar, the eldest son, is made a cardinal at 8. But here's the problem. Caesar doesn't want to be a priest. He wants armies. He wants land. He wants to carve his name into Italy with a sword. Juan, the second son, gets the military career Caesar craves. He's made Duke of Gandia, commander of the papal armies, the golden child who can do no wrong in Papa's eyes. Lucrezia, the only daughter, becomes the family's diplomatic weapon. Marriage after marriage, each one a political alliance. She's married off at 13 to Giovanni Sforza. That marriage lasts until it's no longer useful, then annulment. Married again to Alfonso of Aragon. That ends when Alfonso is mysteriously murdered. Then married a third time to Alfonso d'Este. Lucrezia isn't a person, she's a chess piece. But here's what the Borgias understand that other families don't. Power isn't about being loved, it's about being feared, connected, and too dangerous to cross. Alexander VI uses the papal armies to wage war across central Italy. Town after town falls to Borgia control. The Pope isn't supposed to be a warlord, but nobody's going to tell him that to his face. The Vatican becomes the centre of Borgia power. Appointments are bought and sold. Cardinals are made based on loyalty, not piety. The papal treasury funds conquest after conquest. And the rumours, the scandals, Alexander doesn't care. When critics whisper about his lifestyle, he throws bigger parties. When they question his children's legitimacy, he appoints them to higher positions. This is the peak. The Borgias are untouchable. But inside the family, a storm is brewing. Let's return to that body in the Tiber. June 1490. One Borgia is dead. The Pope's favourite son, murdered in the night, and the investigation is a sham. The prime suspect, his brother Cesare. The motive, everything. One has the armies, the titles, the papal favour. Cesare is stuck in cardinal robes, watching his younger brother live the life he wants. The resentment has been festering for years. The night one disappears, he's last seen leaving a party with Cesare and a mysterious masked man. Cesare returns home alone. One doesn't. Alexander is devastated. He swears to reform the church, to end the corruption, to be the pope he was supposed to be. The grief is real. It lasts about 3 weeks. Then it's back to business. Because Alexander has another son now. Cesare, and Cesare needs to be compensated for his loss, or his guilt, or his ambition. It's all the same in this family. In 1498, Cesare does the unthinkable. He resigns from the cardinal. No one in history has ever voluntarily stopped being a cardinal. But Cesare isn't interested in being part of history. He's interested in making it. Alexander pulls strings across Europe. Cesare gets a French ducal title, a strategic marriage, and command of a mercenary army. Finally, he can be what he was always meant to be, a warlord. Cesare launches the Romagna campaign, a series of brutal military conquests across central Italy. Town after town falls. Rulers who resist are strangled, poisoned, or exiled. Cesare isn't just conquering territory, he's creating a legend. Niccolo Machiavelli watches Cesare in action and thinks, this is what a prince should be. Years later, he'll write The Prince with Cesare as his model. Ruthless, efficient, terrifying. But here's the thing about being feared. You can't afford to show weakness, ever. Cesare starts eliminating threats. His brother-in-law Alfonso of Aragon, Lucrezia's second husband, becomes inconvenient, too close to enemies of the Borgias. One night, Alfonso is attacked on the Vatican steps and badly wounded. He survives. So Cesare sends a hitman to his bedside to finish the job, while Lucrezia is out of the room. Imagine being Lucrezia. Your brother just murdered your husband, and you can't say a word because family is everything. The Borgias are now at their most powerful and their most paranoid. Every banquet might be poisoned. Every alliance might be a trap. The family that conquered Rome through ruthlessness is now trapped by it. Alexander and Cesare perfect the art of the papal poison. Cantarella, a special arsenic blend. Invite a wealthy cardinal to dinner, slip poison in his wine, wait for him to die, then seize his estates for the papacy. The Vatican's treasury grows fat on the inheritance of the dead. But here's the problem with poison. It's hard to control who drinks what. August 1503. Rome is a furnace. The summer heat is killing people in the streets. Alexander VI and Cesare attend a dinner party at a cardinal's vineyard. Days later, both are violently ill. The official story, malaria. The whispered story, they drank their own poison by mistake, or a rival got there first. Alexander dies on August 18, 1503, at age 72. The papal apartment is looted within hours. Cardinals who spent years bowing and scraping now ransack the rooms for gold and documents. The Borgia era is over, and everyone knows it. Cesare is still sick, but he's not dead. He's weak, feverish, and for the first time in his life, vulnerable. The papal election is a nightmare. The cardinals elect Pius III, who dies after 26 days. Then they elect Julius II, Cardinal Giuliano della Rovere, a man who has spent a decade in exile because he hated the Borgias so much. Julius II takes one look at Cesare and thinks, revenge time. Cesare tries to negotiate. He has armies, strongholds, leverage, but he's also sick, isolated, and losing allies by the hour. his captains abandon him, his fortresses surrender, the empire he built with blood collapses in weeks. Julius arrests Cesare, the man who terrorized Italy, is now a prisoner. Cesare eventually escapes to Spain, where he fights as a mercenary for his brother-in-law, the King of Navarre. On March 12, 1507, during a minor siege, Cesare Borgia, the most feared man in Italy, the model for Machiavelli's prince, is killed in a skirmish. He's 31 years old. He dies almost anonymously. No grand battle, no legendary last stand, just a soldier in the wrong place at the wrong time. Lucrezia, she survives. She's in Ferrara now, married to Alfonso d'Este, and she's transformed herself into a patron of the arts, a respected duchess. She hosts poets, commissions paintings, runs a court. She lives until 1519, dying in childbirth at 39. The Borgia bloodline doesn't end, but the power does. Later descendants become respectable nobles, church officials, Spanish aristocrats, but they'll never again hold the world by the throat. The Borgias ruled the Catholic Church for 11 years. In that time, they turned the papacy into a family business, treated central Italy like a hostile takeover, and made nepotism an art form. They were corrupt, ruthless, and shameless. They were also brilliant, strategic, and terrifyingly effective. Here's the irony. The very thing that made them powerful, their loyalty to family above all else, is what destroyed them. Cesare and Juan's rivalry ended in murder. The family's reputation made them untouchable for a decade, then made them radioactive the moment Alexander died. The Borgias thought they were building a dynasty. Instead, they built a cautionary tale. Their legacy, their history's favorite villains. Every TV show, every novel, every documentary about Renaissance corruption starts with them. The name Borgia is still shorthand for political poison, ruthless ambition, and moral bankruptcy. But here's what we forget. For a brief, shining, blood-soaked moment, they won. A Spanish family of minor nobles conquered Rome, bent the Catholic Church to their will, and made Europe tremble. They understood something fundamental. Power doesn't care about your morals, it cares about your leverage. The Borgias had leverage, until they didn't, and when it was gone, so were they. The last lesson: if you're going to build an empire on betrayal, don't be surprised when betrayal comes home.